are you? It is, man, it seems like we were just here. Is this weird?
It's deja vu all over again.
Hey, welcome back to Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott as we do our top 25 college football edition. Going to break down, tell you who we like, who we don't like, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do here. Welcome back to everybody that was just with us. It was it just seems like just minutes ago. So do you like doing them back to back, Scott?
Yeah, I'm already here, so I might as well take two birds out with one stone instead of just one.
Very good. Yes, Brownsbecker, we are live, baby. We are live. By the way, you and I are going to be doing something different tomorrow, Scott. We're going to be doing our NFL show live as we figure out we're unable to figure out how to post our show from last week. So we're just going to do it live because then it just is up there automatically.
Yeah, just in case you didn't catch that, we filmed an entire show for about an hour. Yep. And then something happened with the files and we couldn't upload it. So we wasted an hour of our time.
We wasted more than that because we probably each spent an hour and a half trying to figure out how to upload it.
Yeah, that too.
So says the Houston Cougars got South Florida this weekend. I like the Cougs there, man.
So do I. I thought about putting that as one of my three. Decided not to, but I definitely am not taking South Florida in that matchup.
Well, you and I each suffered a couple of bad beaks. Bad beaks. Yes, we were birds and had bad beaks. We suffered a couple of bad beats, Scott, as we each went 2-1. As I kept rolling, I kept riding the Wake Forest train. They covered the 16 easily against Duke. My God, that's a terrible team.
Yep.
Stetson catching 3 points. Can someone confirm we are actually live? Yes, I can confirm I am live. Scott, are you live?
As far as I know, I'm here.
Somebody liked my roast of you.
It's fair, they want picks, and I told them straight up I don't have a side on it. So yeah. But Stetson getting points, I definitely had a side on because
yes.
How do you not fade Presbyterian?
And Presbyterian actually went to a 5-point favorite at game time. That one didn't matter as they lost 56-14. But in the real story of the week, probably going to be on the, I would guess, the Stanford Steve and Scott Von Pelt show as one of the bad beats of the year. The FSU Clemson under 47.5. If you had the side, if you had the total, they were both into play, and they both got fucked in the rear as the old cover lateral play, Scott, was run to perfection, and Clemson ended up winning that game by 10 and going over the total.
Not a fun time losing your only game for the show that way. But for my 3, I also went 2-1. Ended up losing on a bad beat, not to the same degree of yours, but I had Florida Atlantic minus 10.5, led by 18 with 3 minutes to go. Won the game by 3, so that's not ideal. Had Boise State minus 2. They ended up beating Colorado State. And had a Temple team total under 20.5, and they finished with 7.
Yep. So that brings our record. You'll see it's crawling across there. Last week I was 2-1, 14-13 overall. Scott, 51.8%. That is unacceptable. You continue your nice season, 2-1. That runs your record to 16, 10-1, 61.5%. So that's why you're here, baby. College football.
I'm waiting until college basketball comes around in about 5 days.
I know you are. I know you're the college basketball sniper. It's
probably going to end up having a college basketball show here. So if you want only college basketball coverage, I'll have you covered with that as well.
All right. Let's get rolling here, Scott. As we're going to start with a team. We're going to start with a team like a lot of people do, like the top 10 list. And here's a couple that didn't make the list. We're going to do that with the top 25. Because Marco Regalado, I think, wants to know our thoughts on a team that should be ranked in the top 25 as far as the CFP. They're not. They are on the other polls, of course, and that is the UTSA Road Runners. Taking on the newly resurgent UTEP Miners, Scott. UTEP, 6 wins already on the season.
Going bowling, man.
Tear that team total under. Just rip that ticket up. Of course, you rip it up about a month ago.
Yeah.
You buying UTSA? I love this team. They got some defensive issues, but I love that offense.
But we mentioned them in the conference breakdown for the Conference USA, and we both said the dark horse, quote unquote, to win the conference would be this Roadrunners team.
Mm-hmm.
And meep, they've been very good.
Yep, I liked them when they put up a fight last year against BYU, and I thought they were a team on the come. Mississippi Valley State, baby.
Yep.
You ain't lying.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago State going to be back for a full season. So
if they are as profitable to me this year as they were last year, I will buy a Mississippi Valley State jersey.
Okay, fair enough.
I will.
Fair enough. Hey, let's talk about.
That's why we should buy Presbyterian jerseys, by the way, for football.
I'm into that.
We really should just wear them.
I've certainly made enough to buy one.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if they screw me this weekend, we'll see.
I think you make enough every week from them to buy about 10.
They're so good. They're
so good to us. They're not good. That's the beauty of it.
No, they're consistent, and that's what you look for. So buying and flipping, absolutely. Yeah, we talk about stocks. We talk about the crypto as well. So
yep,
I want to become a crypto master. And in the meantime, let's talk about the top 25. Scott, Pittsburgh. Speaking of Duke, Pittsburgh headed up to Durham to take on the Dukies. Kenny Pickett's are laying 21, and 64 is your total right there. You want any part of this Duke team, Scott? Any sign of life? Anything you can point your finger to and go, well, at least they do that well.
At least they're at home. I guess that's the silver lining. But Pittsburgh had a pretty, I'd say, underwhelming showing against Miami, which I talked about on air last week because they were missing a couple of guys. And I thought maybe shorthanded, Miami might sneak up on them. I didn't think they'd lose the game, but I thought it was a pretty high number to cover. But Duke is so bad. Pittsburgh had a golden chance to compete for the ACC title game appearance. They're not officially out of it, so the game still means something to them. Duke is just rolling over and dying every week. They got killed by Wake Forest last week. And it's not even just the fact that they lost to Wake Forest, which is fine, because Wake Forest is undefeated. How do you only score 7 points against that defense? Army scored 56. You scored 7? You can't move the ball against Wake Forest? Come on, man.
You've got to work really hard to not score more than 7 points against that defense.
So my question for you is, assuming both of us agree Pitt should score 42 points in this game?
Yes.
Maybe more?
Yes.
Do I think Duke can get to 20? I'm not sure about that, so I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
Well, let's see. What's their team total? So 32. So their team total's right around 20 or so.
I don't think they're getting there.
I don't see it. I don't know. I don't know where the exuberance on Duke really comes from. They scored 7 against Wake Forest. They put up nada against Virginia, and they put up nada.
I'm sorry, repeat that. They put up how many points against Virginia?
Nada.
Virginia gave up, they gave up 38 in the first half to BYU?
Correct.
Okay.
And then they also put up 7 on North Carolina, which another horrific defense. So,
and Pitt, I know the defense was bad last week. Miami's offense with Van Dyke has actually been pretty good. So even though the defense underperformed, it seems like a very nice get-right spot for Pittsburgh as they roll and win this game by probably 28 to 35 points.
Pitt had held Clemson to 17 and held Virginia Tech to 7. So, I mean, they do have some defensive chops against mediocre or bad teams. So, I'm all over that. You got a thought on the total?
Same thing as we talked about last week with this total. Do I think Duke can contribute? Last week I said yes, against my better judgment. This week I'm going no. So I'll go with the under.
I'm with you. Yep. That's Pittsburgh and Duke there for us. Purdue on the money line.
We'll talk about that game against Michigan State.
We'll get to that one. San Diego State, Scott. They are 24th ranked. They are 7-point road favorites as they head to the Big Island to take on the Rainbow Warriors. 45 and a half is the first of a few 40s we're going to see this, and maybe even some lower totals. It's a different game on the island, Scott. Different things happen. If you're a fan of the Brady Bunch, weird things happen when you head to the islands. So you taking San Diego State here? A little inconsistent, at least offensively.
A brief rant. I'm so disappointed in Hawaii. I know San Diego State is a defensive team. A total of 45 in a Hawaii game.
Yeah.
Can you get Rolovich back? Can we start airing it out a little bit? Rolovich is available. I kind of miss seeing you have 60 points in about the second or third quarter. My brief rant, I need more entertaining games on the island if you're going to be the late night bailout special at 1 a.m.
Yeah,
is that a fair rant?
Yeah, that's fair enough because you could usually just, if nothing else, take Hawaii over. And
usually you're having a good time.
And a lot of times you could catch them on the money line and they'd jump up and make you 250 or so.
Yeah.
So but the times have changed, Scott. This is a run first Hawaii team. Well, it's not exactly.
I don't know if it's a run first. Or
they're a balanced attack.
I don't know if they're a run first team or they just have not been good at throwing the ball compared to previous years.
Well, that's of course, they've got a pretty good legacy of the quarterback position there, but. We'll see against San Diego State because this is a team that they don't give up a ton, 17.5 points per game. Having said that, that's a lot of points for Hawaii.
Hawaii did beat Fresno on the island, though.
They did, and that's exactly what I'm looking at. Of course, this is a San Diego State team that kind of got handed their hat to them by Fresno last week.
Can we acknowledge how funny it is, by the way, that Hawaii has played 2 games against New Mexico State?
Yeah, that's because I took a sniff in that game last week, and that was one of the things I had to talk about when you look at Hawaii's stats. Is remember, not 1 but 2 of those games were against New Mexico State, probably the worst team west of the Mississippi River.
I'm going with the road team here.
Yeah, T-Train says beware Hawaii on the island.
I agree with beware, and I know that I'm going against that. But San Diego State was undefeated going into last week. I know both of us liked Fresno there because we still like this Fresno team. That San Diego State defense is filthy, and I think Hawaii is going to have a really hard time moving the ball. So even though I want more points in the Hawaii bailout special, I'm not expecting it. If it's going to be an over, San Diego State's going to score 30-something because I really don't think Hawaii is going to move the ball that easily in this game.
All right, I'm going to take a correlated pick. I'm going to take Hawaii. I'm also going to play the over.
Okay. So we're disagreeing, but those are all correlated, so that's fair.
You got the over as well?
No, I'm going with the under. Because
Okay.
I think if San Diego State is going to win by margin, Hawaii might now reach 10 to 17 points. So I'll go with the under. I think San Diego State wins 24-10.
Okay. Very good. T-Train says Pitt was a huge disappointment against you. Yeah.
They were, but Miami's offense with Van Dyke has actually been pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, 23rd ranked Fresno State. They are at home against Boise State. Speaking of disappointments, as Boise State comes to town, they are at 5.
Don't insult them. They made me money last week, so Boise made it right for me.
Team is dead to me.
We're cool now. Boise and I are cool now.
So we're good. Good?
Right. They're not with you, but with me, they righted a couple of wrongs.
Bulldogs 5-point favorites and 59 in the hook is your total right there. Well, are we just going to shovel dirt on the grave of Boise State, or do they undertake it, the Undertaker, and sit up in one last hurrah?
It's tough because Boise, even though they covered for me, trailed by double digits in the first half to Colorado State, which is not exactly an ideal situation you want to be in. I got a little bit lucky with that game because Boise held Colorado State to 4 field goals in 4 trips inside the red zone. So Colorado State left a lot of points off the board. I'm taking Fresno. I just think Fresno's the better team.
By the way, that's now at 4.5 offshore, and I'm going to take the 4.5 there.
I think if money comes in on Boise, it's solely based on reputation. Yep. Fresno is just the better football team. I'm not a Bachmeier guy. Boise can't run the ball, and the defense was good in the red zone, but you let Colorado State make it into the red zone 4 times. I think Fresno wins this game on the road.
So it's not necessarily Colorado State's red zone execution. It's the fact you let them even show up there.
Am I wrong with that? We've seen Sendejo try to throw. He's not exactly a capable quarterback for Colorado State.
He's gotten better.
He's gotten better, but he's still not very good.
I'd Colorado State there. I thought I was a genius in the first.
Let's just say I think Jake Herner is better than Sendejo. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So I think Herner has a good game. I think that Ronnie Rivers, keep an eye on his status because he's very, very good as a running back, but he did not play last week. Backup did pretty good, though. I'll go with Fresno. They're the better team.
Ronnie Rivers also did Long Distance Information. Give me. You know that song?
I actually do.
That's Johnny Rivers, actually. It's Ronnie's brother.
Ronnie's brother?
None of that is true.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know what's happening, but sure.
I know. Sometimes I just go down my own path. It's okay. Total?
The total's tricky.
Yeah.
60 does seem like the number it should be at. I would have taken the over if it was the mid 50s, but it's at 60 something. I'm actually going to go with the under.
Yeah.
I think that this game will be a little bit more defensive than people think. I talked about Boise's red zone defense. If they can force Fresno into a couple of drives that stall out inside the 10, that can kill an over. I'll take the under. I think you'll see a game that finishes somewhere around, I'd say 30-23. But Boise's offense, which is usually high-powered, has been pretty underwhelming this season. I think this total seems a bit high.
Yeah, and both of these defenses have been decent. They've as far as Boise goes, their defense has certainly been better than their offense goes. I'm with you. I'm not necessarily a Bachmeier guy, and I think there's going to be a few more punts than people are anticipating in this one, Scott.
Yeah, or a couple turnovers deep in plus territory, which Bachmeier's known for.
Yes, always brutal. Yeah, Zach, we're going to talk about that too, because I had my own questions about that Mississippi game. Yeah,
Liberty Bibberty,
and there's actually money coming in on Liberty, by the way.
Hugh Freeze revenge game.
Iowa minus 12, traveling Chicago to take on Northwestern. Actually, Evanston, I know. Don't at me. 40.5 is the total here, Scott.
Probably the least appealing game to watch on the entire Power 5 card.
It's one of those, if you ever saw Clockwork Orange, it's one of the ones where they put the toothpicks in your eyes and you're forced
to make it stop, please, I beg you.
Watch this game, right?
Pretty much. I'm singing in the rain. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Iowa. I gotta go with Iowa. I know this team's been struggling lately. Purdue's not bad. Wisconsin was supposed to be good. Seems like the defense finally woke up, but they actually played some good opponents. Northwestern's just awful. I know Petrus stinks. I'm kind of hoping they might switch quarterbacks or something.
Yeah.
But are we sure Northwestern's going to score in this game? Because I'm really not.
They haven't scored a ton in conference play. They've averaged about 12 and a quarter points per game in conference play so far.
So let's pencil in Northwestern for 10, which I think is a fair projection for this game.
Yeah, they put up 7 against Nebraska, 7 against Michigan. Two pretty comparable defenses with that Iowa defense, I would say.
So maybe 7, but they're at home. So I'll give them 10. Do you think Iowa gets to 24 or 23? Because that's really the question we're asking.
It's going to be such a struggle.
It's really tough, but you're hoping there's a pick 6 or something in there. I'll give it to Iowa. They struggled against pretty good opposition that are going to bowl games. Northwestern's not going to a bowl game, so I'll go with Iowa.
All right, good enough. T-Train says he's singing Who's Making Love with Your Old Lady. Whilst you were out making love. You know that song?
I actually do not know that one.
Okay. The song has been in my head all day. Now it'll be in mine too. Brownsbacker, big fan of Clockwork Orange. Can you play an over with Northwestern, Scott?
No, because I just said I'm not sure if Northwestern's going to score.
Yeah.
I gave them 10 points out of courtesy. My favorite play in this game is the under because Iowa's offense stinks. Northwestern's offense stinks, and you're expecting Iowa to top out at about 31, and that's on a very, very good day. Northwestern's not going to contribute much. I'll take the under.
Here's your team, buddy. On Wisconsin, the number 21 ranked Badgers traveled to New Jersey to take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. The Badgers 13-point favorites. The total in this one, 38.
Yeah.
38, buddy. There's another situation where you go, how many points is Rutgers going to score? Are they going to get to double digits?
No, I don't think they're going to. This Wisconsin defense, I know that some of it's against the actual competition that they've had in the Big Ten, which has not been as great as we thought because they haven't played Ohio State. They haven't played some of these other teams in Michigan, put a fair share of points against them. But this defense might be a top 3 unit in the entire country. This unit's filthy.
They're awfully good.
Penn State and Iowa each had 1 first down in the entire first half. Are you out of your mind? I don't think Rutgers are going to move the ball. I know it's in Jersey, so you have some home crowd there. But Rutgers, they were 3-0. Then they faced off against Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, and Northwestern. Lost all 4. scored less than 14 points in each of those games, and scored 20 against Illinois. I'm proud of you. But for me, do I want to lay this much with Wisconsin on the road? Not really, but I'm going to take Wisconsin anyway. I just think the defense is going to put the clamps down. Rutgers has done nothing offensively for about the last month. I think they might get shut out. I'll give them 7. Give me Wisconsin winning a very hideous game, 24-7.
Yeah, Zach Vaughn points out that they allow less than 50 yards rushing per game, and that is, especially in college, that's unreal.
Zach says he has a friend who plays for Wisconsin. So do I.
There you go. Do you really?
I had a friend who actually recorded a half sack last week.
A half sack?
Yeah. He should have gotten the full thing. He got hosed, but he did get half a sack out of it.
I got a half sack last week too, Scott.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just saving it up for a full sack this week.
Nice.
Brownsbecker says there's apparently a reason that he has no team totals on his sportsbook. Yeah, the reason is he needs a new sportsbook because it's the wave of the future, man. That used to be the case, but you should be able to get them now. Would you agree with that, Scott?
Yeah. It seems that way. Some books are slacking, man. It's really not right. But Rutgers' team total is 13, as T-Train pointed out. I got to take the under there. I don't think this team's going to move the ball. And Wisconsin's perfect for team total unders because they will always eat up all the clock if they can. And they're going to punt deep in plus territory. So you're going to not have to worry about field position for Rutgers because they're probably going to be inside their 20 most of the time. Give me the under.
You know what? I'm going to 28-10. I'm going to take the over in this one.
Is that even an over or is that a push? Because you said the total was 38.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. 31-10.
Okay. Good save. You have Wisconsin scoring 31 points. Good luck to you with that one.
Well, it's I gotta be honest with you. It's a lot of it has to do with the Rutgers defense, which hasn't been too impressive, and they're going to get worn down. Scott, that's the problem. Is they're
going to get worn down, but we know Wisconsin has embraced my quarterback's terrible. Let's run the ball 50 times a game. Yep. A lot of running clock.
T-Trade says that Rutgers screws me no matter what I do. Yeah, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
And now the team that UTSA fans are probably most salty about being ranked, it's the Minnesota Golden Gophers. What? That's right.
They turned it around once they lost to Bowling Green.
Yeah. Terrific. 20th ranked, 14.5-point favorites at Illinois comes to town. 44 is the total. This just feels like one of those games where Minnesota just shits the bed.
The entire Big Ten conference, besides Ohio State and Michigan State, this is just deja vu. We've talked about the same game 3 times in a row for about 5 minutes. Is that fair?
Yeah,
it's the same game.
They have them all ranked together like that, and I like the underdog's chances better in this game than I do the other two.
I agree, but I still like Minnesota. Illinois, congrats on beating Penn State. They can't throw the ball at all. And even running the ball, they're good at in some spots. But Minnesota has really amped it up since they had that come to Jesus moment where they lost to Bowling Green and realized they had to turn the season around. I think Minnesota rolls here. I think Illinois is going to roll over. But I do think that Minnesota is not a great team. They lost another running back this past week, which is about the 5th they've lost this year, which is kind of a shame in itself. But as another situation, I don't know if Illinois scores. So I'll take Minnesota.
See, for me, it's the hook. It's all about that hook.
That's fair.
I think I just don't know with Illinois wanting to run the football. I think they'll have some success. I think they're going to be able to shorten this game.
It's another game where my favorite play is the under.
Yeah, I've got to go with the under there. Brownsbacker says he's kind of new to sports betting. This is his first football season. Started in March, and that means he also has conference basketball to go to, which is a lot of fun.
Yep.
So enjoy the ride because basketball tends to be a little easier than football. Scott, would you agree with that?
At least in my experience, I've been pretty good at college basketball. So
I think it's because there's so many games that the lines are you can exploit the lines a little more than you can in football, especially the NFL, man. When you've got 16 games max every weekend and usually closer to 12 or 13, they just get so much attention. Those lines get so sharp.
I find the overnight line moves in college basketball to be incredibly sharp.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. And that's true. If you want to,
you might miss some points where if a line goes from around 3 to 5, it's not like football where you have some key numbers where it might take some time to get over. For college basketball, if it goes to 3-5, you might see 7 or 9. Like, these lines do not stop moving.
Yep. I agree. T-Train says best advice is be patient, expect to take losses, money management. Yep, I agree.
But I want to win.
I agree with all those things.
I agree too.
North Carolina State, 19th in the country, as they take on the Florida State Seminoles. North Carolina State, small favorites, got 2.5 points over Florida State. 55 is the number there.
This looks like a trap line, doesn't it?
It really does. That's exactly what I was going to say. That's exactly what it seems like to me. I'm loath to fall for the banana in the tailpipe 2 weeks in a row with these Florida teams.
I'm taking NC State.
Are you really?
Yeah.
After said all that?
I did, because I have to acknowledge the spread does look extremely sketchy.
Okay.
But I'm also biased because I said before the season I love this NC State team. And for the most part, they've been really good. They had 1 or 2 bad performances. They bounced back against Louisville, which I thought was a nice win. I don't think Florida State's good. I get that they beat North Carolina and they won a couple of games there, but NC State's the better team. And I know home field matters somewhat. Does it matter this much? I don't know. I'm going to go with NC State because I think they should be favored by more than 2.5.
Okay. And yeah, I'm not falling for it, Scott. I'm just not doing it. This is a NC State team that got beat by Miami, and I
don't know how bad that loss is though, because Miami beat Pittsburgh last week.
Okay, well,
that was also in Miami. They lost by 1, so they hung around against Miami. They just couldn't get the job done.
Yep, I'm going the other way. I think that line's suspicious.
It is,
and that's why. For those reasons, I'm out.
I think you're underestimating how bad Florida State is.
Well, I know that they've certainly had their defensive struggles, but
that's the point. NC State has the better quarterback, the better, I'd say, weapons. They got the better defense. I'm just looking over, and I get that Florida State might sneak up and bite this team. Believe me, it wouldn't surprise me if Florida State won because of the line. But from what I'm looking at, I got to take what I see. And I see a better football team being favored by 2.5.
I've got the over.
I agree.
Kentucky at home, Tennessee on the road. Pick 'em, 57.
This is also one of those lines that doesn't really make any sense because a lot of money is coming on Tennessee going into this game, mostly because they're off the bye. They had an extra week to get healthy. So I do think that for a spot, it's pretty nice for Tennessee, especially since Kentucky no-showed against Mississippi State, which I had because the line made no sense and there was a bunch of line movement with it. But I'm taking Kentucky. This team's undefeated at home, and Tennessee's not a very good road team. I don't think Tennessee's a very good team as a whole. Give me Kentucky because they'll at least get some stops. Tennessee has a defense that's not very good, and I think Kentucky, even though this offense has struggled lately, should be able to move the ball. Give me Kentucky at home and a pick 'em.
Yeah, this is a pretty good Kentucky defense at the end of the day. They've done well against the teams that they're supposed to do well against. They held Florida to 13, not counting shitting the bet against Mississippi State, which I still don't understand. But yeah, I'm with you. T-Train's going to pass.
I don't blame you for passing, but
in real life, I'll probably do that too.
If I'm looking at an undefeated home team against an average at best conference opponent, I'll take the undefeated home team.
I think that's solid. I think they play a little good. I think they lock down that Tennessee offense.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of unders this week so far, man.
I agree with the under though.
Yeah,
Kentucky's a dead under team. I mean, they can't really score, and the defense is very good.
Yep. Speaking of Mississippi State, they're just grouping them together. This is just weird. Yep. 17th ranked as they head to Fayetteville, take on the Arkansas Razor Hogs. The unranked Hogs 5-point favorite. Scott, 55.5 is the number right there.
You know my theory.
Yeah, I do. It's the favored unranked team over the ranked team, and
at home.
In this case, yeah, at home. In this case, I absolutely agree with it. I think Arkansas is the better team.
Off a bye as well.
Yes, off a bye to get their mind right. I'll play the over.
I agree. I think that Arkansas showcased some solid offense against Auburn. The issue was the defense, and we saw how good the offense was against Ole Miss. But This team has some firepower. Meanwhile, Mississippi State, we know Leach is going to throw it around the parking lot. A lot of clock stoppages. Rogers has been pretty good this season. I like the over as well.
With you. Timothy Lindsay said he likes Memphis. I saw a really interesting trend.
We talked about it last week, though. It seemed like the time where Sonny Dykes' team falls apart.
I like him theoretically there, but man, that's just a tough
team's
spot.
bad.
Yeah.
I can't take it until I know if Hannigan's a quarterback or not, because the backup against UCF was terrible.
Yep, that's the problem. Liberty at Ole Miss, we talked about that one. 16 is the ranking for Ole Miss. They are 9.5-point favorite. 66.5 is the number. And like I said, I think this number has pretty much come down to 9.
It has. I'm assuming most of it has to do with the fact that Corral is clearly below 80%.
Yeah.
70%. I don't even know what he's at right now.
That's the problem.
They don't have many weapons either. A bunch of guys got injured. You had Drummond, who got injured last game too. He's questionable, and he's one of their best receivers. So they're a little bit short on weapons. Liberty Bibberty is a team that confuses me because they've looked really good against UMass, because you're supposed to. They were trailing by double digits against North Texas. I don't know how that happened. But they also lost to UL Monroe. They killed UAB earlier this year, so they've been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team. I find this line fascinating to me. I liked it a lot more at 10 than at 9, but I'm going to go with the Liberty. Bit of a hot take there. I'm going to take a Liberty. You?
I'm trying to find a status on everybody.
I can guarantee you the public is not the people that are betting Liberty in this spot. So I'll back the people shelling out a bunch of money. I'll go with Liberty in this one.
This is a time that would be reflective of sharp action. I would certainly agree with that.
The public would be all over Ole Miss. So I'd probably wait because I do think the public buyback might bring it to 9.5 or 10. I think you'll get a lot of Ole Miss money laying less than 10. Okay. But I do think it's a bit of a trap and okie doke. I'll go with Liberty.
All right. I'm going right into the teeth of the trap, just like you did with the
NC State.
Yeah, with NC State. So I'm going to take Ole Miss minus the 9 points. Just Liberty, the Liberty team that was there last year, I'd probably be all over Liberty in this spot.
I think Liberty would win outright if it was the team from last year.
That Monroe loss, man, I can't get past that. That's
bad.
Just ugly.
Ole Miss, though, really not many receivers who are still alive, especially if Drummond can't go.
There may be some people smart enough to play an under in a Mississippi game and win it. I ain't one of those guys. I'm playing the over.
This is just tough, man. 67. I'm going to do it. I'll take the under.
All right.
Hold my nose. Give me the under. Who do you think is better, by the way, Corral or Willis?
Corral.
I agree. What about a compromised Corral versus Willis?
Willis.
I agree.
Okay. Good question.
Good talk.
Idaho State at BYU. You got a number on this? I made the sheet. I did not have a number. Let me.
I don't believe I have a number on this one. I do not. So skip.
Yeah, hang on. Give me say something pithy for about 30 seconds. I'm gonna see if I got it on the grid here.
Well, you're putting me on the spot. All right. Well, looking at
who they playing? BYU. Oh, Idaho State. Okay.
Yeah. Let me just look to see if there's any questions here. Going to sit tight, see if you can talk me off the over 76.5 in the North Carolina game. We'll talk about that because North Carolina is a team that we know has been a pretty good over team because Howell's a good quarterback. The weapons have been inconsistent, but we know that North Carolina defense is kind of an oxymoron because it has no defense. It plays against Wake Forest. I got to like the over in that too, Bragg. I agree. Wake Forest's defense was good against Duke. I think all of us could probably field a team of 11 that could limit Duke to 14 points. I'll take the over. I saw North Carolina struggle against Notre Dame to stop really anything. They're built to go up tempo. Wake Forest is the same way. I agree with you. I'll go with the over 76.5. I think one of those teams scores at least 49 points. So I'll take the over. What do you think?
All right. I got no number there. I got no number on.
No, I'm saying, what do you think about the North Carolina Wake Forest over 76.5? I can't take the under, man. I can't do it.
So many points.
It's so many points, but North Carolina and Wake Forest are kind of built to go up tempo and put up 40 apiece. So
and they don't field good defenses at all. So
no. So I agree with you, Bragg. I'll go with the over.
All right. A&M minus 4.5 at home. taking on number 13 Auburn. So it's the 13 and 14 schools going at it. It's the only ranked game I believe we have. Oh, Scott, I've faded Bo Nix to my demise the last couple of weeks. How about now?
He's proven me wrong, man. He's been good. But I'm taking A&M because it's the rule of thumb in the SEC. If you have a close game where you think it's going to be a matchup that should be pretty intense, take the home team with the crowd. That's usually how it goes in the SEC. You know, College Station will be rocking. And we know Auburn's a lot better at home than they are on the road. This Auburn team's impressed me lately. I'm still kind of skeptical on how good Ole Miss actually is because they seem to be falling apart lately. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end up taking A&M off the bye. This team's played really well lately. I'll take them.
All right. This is an absolutely dreadful team off the bye. They are historically horrific.
Until tomorrow.
You're probably right, but I'm going to do it. I'm taking Auburn plus the 4.5. And I'll take the over there as well.
I'm taking the over. That I agree with. Auburn's actually moved the ball well. Calzada seems to actually figure out how to throw the ball. So I like the over there. But as I said before, I think the game's a coin flip. And you like Auburn, I'm taking the home team in the SEC. Yeah.
T-Train says BYU minus 35 over Idaho State.
It's either BYU or pass, but we know BYU is not afraid to sleepwalk through an entire game against the team it'll roll over.
I'm just going to play them.
It's either BYU or pass, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're up 30 and call off everybody in the third quarter.
The Vandals, Idaho State.
No, Idaho's the Vandals.
Idaho's the Vandals. I'm sorry.
Idaho State is the
Chuckers.
I think they're the Wildcats. As basic as that sounds.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
but here's another interesting line, Scott.
Maybe the Bengals. Sorry, they're the Bengals.
The Bengals. Very good.
Yep.
Baylor minus 6.5. Number 12 ranked Baylor heading to TCU. TCU, they've K-State. Great. This is the coach killer, Scott. Texas Tech, they lose to K-State, coach gone. TCU loses to K-State, coach gone.
TCU's been awful.
Beware K-State. TCU has been awful, and the defense has been really bad.
If you're getting rid of Gary Patterson, who's the most important college football figure you've probably ever had.
Oh, no question.
That sums up how bad your team has been this year. I'm going with Baylor.
I have to take Baylor, and I have to.
That's a good Baylor team, by the way. It's not even just fading TCU. Baylor is legit. That's a good team.
Totally agree. I've got the under here. I don't think TCU contributes much.
I agree. I think Baylor's defense is underrated. I think that TCU's defense isn't great, but the offense struggles so much that I don't know if it's going to matter. 31-12 against Kansas State. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Not good.
Yeah. I'll take
T-Train said he found it on Vegas Insider. That's weird because I couldn't find it on Don Best. I've got the Don Best grid, and
I didn't find that on anything, so you got me beat there.
Okie Doke State, the Pride of Stillwater, heads to Morgantown, West Virginia to take on the Mountaineers. Oklahoma State 3.5-point favorite, number 11 ranked, and 49 is the total. What to make of this West Virginia team, Scott?
They're good at home. That's all there is to make of them. So take them at home, fade them on the road. And since this game, remind me where this game's taking place again?
It is in the beautiful hills of West Virginia, my friend.
I'm taking West Virginia. I'm a big Letty Brown guy.
Okay. Well, they were good. They were good to us last week against Iowa State.
Yeah, they went outright. And Oklahoma State's a team we know has been great defensively. Offensively, not so much. I think West Virginia keeps this game extremely close, and I think they're going to win the game outright. So I'll take West Virginia.
All right. Very good. I'm going to
I'm expecting a low-scoring, hideous game, so I'll take the points.
Yeah, I got to go that way. I've got to go the hideous under as well. I'll take West Virginia in the under. I really considered taking Oklahoma State. I think they're a good football team, but
I agree.
Just play much better at home.
Yep.
In the Navy as they head to South Bend to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the number 10 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 3 touchdown favorites are the Golden Domers. 47.5 is the total. Navy, Scott, they've
been better. They're not good, but they've been better.
Didn't complete a pass last week.
They won. I believe we gave them out on the air at plus 370.
We did. They were able to catch that, and hopefully you guys got some down on the money line, at least on the spread line.
That Tulsa team should not have been favored by double digits against anybody.
No way. We like Navy. They were pretty much there the whole time. They've covered 4 of their last 5, including games against SMU and Cincinnati, Scott. So they're not going to be intimidated by the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, or will they?
That pass defense is so bad, though. That Navy pass defense is so non-existent.
And they give up a ton of sacks, brother. They give up so many sacks based on how many times they throw. That's what's so hard to believe. Yeah, that's a lot.
I got to assume Notre Dame dominates the line of scrimmage on both sides, right?
You would think so. You would think the Notre Dame rushing defense still comes around. Having said that, you taking Notre Dame?
I hate laying huge numbers with Notre Dame.
Agreed.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
Okay.
It seems like a lot of points, like they're trying to dare you to take Navy. Or like they're trying to dare you to take Notre Dame, I mean, because it does seem a little bit high. I'm going to go Notre Dame. I like the under, though. I don't think Navy's going to move the ball.
No, I agree with that. I think that's how Navy covers it. They just limit the opportunities for Notre Dame. Tony, I agree. Notre Dame's fool's gold at 21. No chance.
I don't know.
All right, good.
Once again, that's another
Wake Forest?
game. There's a 0% chance I'm taking an actual play on that Notre Dame game.
All right, so now we're going to get to really try that theory of yours, Scott. As number 9 ranked Wake Forest travels up the road to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. Tar Heels, unranked, 2.5-point favorites. And as we talked about earlier, 76.5 is the total.
I'm expecting a game with no punts. First team to punt loses. I'm going North Carolina.
Okay.
I think that even though this team has underperformed, the weapons have started to show themselves. Howell looks comfortable. They move the ball against Notre Dame. But you're looking at a Wake Forest team that has a lot of pressure on its shoulders because it's on pace for arguably the best season it's ever had. You look at who Wake Forest has played. Who have they played? It's nobody good.
Their schedule is
it's a little cupcakey.
I mean, it's not their fault. You play the games on your schedule.
You play the games, but to go through them: Old Dominion, Norfolk State, Florida State, Virginia, Louisville, Syracuse, Army, and Duke. Really?
Okay.
I get that they're number 9 in the country. This is easily the toughest game that they're going to have up to this point. I'm going to take the home team because I'm going back to my point of taking the unranked home team that's favored. Give me North Carolina.
Okay. Well, and before we talk about victories of one team versus another, North Carolina has beat Miami, Duke, Virginia, and Georgia State.
At least they beat Miami. That's better than any team that Wake Forest has beaten, besides maybe Army.
Craig, I agree. Wake Forest rolls. I don't even know what we're talking about. You're going to give me 2.5 points. Yes, Wake Forest.
I think it's a trap, so I'll go with North Carolina.
Hey, I'm going to play the under there too. How about that?
Well, I said I think there's going to be 50 points, arguably from both teams, so I'll take the over.
All right. I'm just taking a hunch there, bud. I could be completely.
That's more than a hunch.
Endlessly wrong.
That is something.
Oklahoma is off. Michigan dropped to number 7 in the nation, and they entertain the Indiana Hoosiers as they come to town without Michael Penix. I'm not sure that's a terrible thing. 20-point favorites, 50 is the number, Scott.
I'm going to take a dog here. I'm taking Indiana. I think that even though Michigan's the better team, and we know that, you got to assume that the entire team's dejected, right? I mean, you have a shot to win the huge rivalry game, to stay undefeated, to have a serious shot at making the playoff, and you blow a 16-point lead in the second half. I think Michigan comes out flat. I think they're going to show a really lackluster performance here. Indiana might not be a good team, but they play hard, as cliche as that sounds. I think it'll be close. I'll take Indiana plus the points.
They're kind of building a club sandwich, Scott, with the 3 layers of bread, because they had Michigan State last week. They got Indiana this week. They have Penn State next week. Then they have Maryland, and then they have Ohio State. So it's kind of like they're like building a club sandwich.
It is. We know that Indiana at this point in the season is just playing with house money. Try to have some positives for a bad season. Michigan, after that awful choke job in the rivalry, I'm assuming you agree. You think they're going to come out a bit flat here?
Yes, I agree. I'm going to go with the Indiana plus the 20, and I'll play the over as well.
That total of 51. Yeah, I'll take the over.
All right, I've got it's 51 now. I had it at 50. So, and as always, you or anybody in the comment section, don't be afraid to correct me because I did these sheets yesterday. So
I'm looking at them now.
There could be some change. T-Train says North Carolina 2.5 is his best bet.
I think it's a huge trap line, so I don't mind that, T-Train.
Okay, good enough. Speaking of trap lines, that terrible Tulsa team travels to Cincinnati, home of Skyline Chili.
How do you think Cincinnati responds? I don't know.
That's a great question.
There's on one hand, we have to win every game by 90. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, all hope is lost.
All hope is lost. Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to handle this.
I think they cover just because Tulsa's so bad. I don't think they come out and necessarily play their best game, but I think they fuck around for 3 quarters and then put a couple touchdowns up in the 4th quarter and cover the number.
I'm going to agree with you. This Tulsa team, you couldn't move the ball against Navy.
Yeah.
Against Navy.
The Navy.
Come on, man. I got to go Cincinnati. I think they'll win this game 35-7.
Okay. You got the under there as well.
I have to. I don't think Tulsa's going to score.
Correct. I don't think Tulsa helps much at all to that total. The Ohio State 15-point favorites as they head to the shadow of the penis on the prairie, take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. That's right.
It's what they might as well be called because Cornhuskers hasn't helped them this season.
15-point favorites. 66 is the number. 66 with Nebraska? Really? Huh.
I like the under there.
How many games does it take Nebraska to put up 66 points?
Well, Ohio State's offense we saw struggled a bit last week against Penn State.
Holy shit. It's gone up to 67.5, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess they're expecting Ohio State to score 50, which I guess is fair, but I'm not going to rely on one team to do all the lifting. I'll take the under in that spot.
Got to.
As for the actual spread, it's tricky because because Nebraska is really good for 3 quarters, and then everything hits the fan in the 4th, kind of like Texas in a way from that perspective. Do I think Ohio State wins by margin? I'm going to go yes. Okay. I think Ohio State's disappointed by how they played against Penn State last week at home.
Yep.
I think they roll this team.
Yeah, they're number 5. They're at the outside looking in, so they've got to make some noise there. T-Train said Cincinnati made Navy look good. Yeah,
that is true, but Navy apparently yes, Cincinnati made Navy look good. Tulsa made Navy look like the 85 Bears. That's a problem.
That is true. They could not run the ball at all. Oregon minus 6.5 as they head up to take on the Washington Huskies. 5.5. Excuse me, 50.5 is the number there. Number 4 ranked in Dex. 5.5.
5.5 total.
I'm taking the over. That's my lock of the week.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking the points.
Does number seem a little short to you?
No, I'm taking the points.
You taking Washington?
Yeah. I think that the Pac-12 we talked about on the previous show for the fact that I hate every team in the Pac-12. I can't handle any of these teams. I'll take the points because I can't trust Oregon laying numbers. Now, I know that they ended up beating Colorado, didn't cover because of some 2-point conversion hijinks and everything. But they gave up 30, what they give up, 30-something points to Colorado?
Yeah, not good.
That's not a good performance in my book. Washington's offense stinks, but they've historically been a really good home team. The defense is good. I expect a hideous game. I'm also not a big Anthony Brown guy. I'll take the under, and I'll take Washington. I think Washington has a shot to win this game. I don't think they're going to, but I think it'll be close. Give me the points.
You just not like any quarterbacks named Brown?
No.
You don't like Quad Brown? You like Anthony Brown?
Well, Quad Brown got benched, so Georgia State doesn't like him either. But Anthony Brown was a guy who I didn't like at Boston College. I didn't think he was very good. But this Oregon team just seems to really enjoy playing with its food. And I think Washington at home in this spot has a chance for a statement win for a down year. It's a nighttime game in Washington. I'm going to take the points.
Which team do you like that has failed to cover 4 of their last 5?
What is Washington?
They both failed to cover 4 of their last 5.
Now I'm answering Jeopardy style. What is Washington?
Oh, what is Washington? Okay. God, I hate this. Jesus Christ.
Now, T-Train, if you're regularly betting the Pac-12, I'm praying for you. I've avoided this conference at all costs. I can't handle it, so I'll take the points.
All right. I'll take Oregon. As far as the total goes, Washington's played pretty good defense.
If I think Washington's going to cover, I have to like the under.
Okay.
That's the way it is. Washington's not going to win a shootout against this team.
Nope, I'll take the over there because I think you got a little correlation happening.
I see 24-21. One of those games, 24-20, something like that.
Okay. All right, very good. Number 3, Michigan State. They are 3-point favorites at Purdue. We talked about this one. No, T-Train, you're not the only one who thinks Pac-12 is shit.
They're awful.
Of course, I'm a root for the Big 12. So,
well, that was our donkey of the day going into the season. How the committee put 6 teams from the Pac-12 in the top 25.
Yeah, and it hasn't aged very well.
No, not at all.
Scott, am I wrong here? Looking for a letdown?
No, because that's what the line would suggest. I'm taking Michigan State.
Are you?
I don't think Purdue's very good. Now, I know that it's a trap line, and I get it. And I'm kind of being hypocritical because sometimes I'm following the trap line philosophy, and sometimes I'm not. I get it. But I think Michigan State's the better team here. Purdue peaked early. They beat an Iowa team that was highly overrated by everybody because I believe they were number 2 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that? Petras was a quarterback for an alleged number 2 team in the country.
Boy, that seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
But I've watched this Purdue team play. They try to air it out a lot. It doesn't go too well. And defensively, they've been okay. They've had issues against the run lately. And Kenneth Walker's the guy you don't want to have issues with the run against. So I'm going to go with Michigan State.
Yeah, the problem for me is that Purdue is they can't really run the football. They average just 2.5 yards per carry. And that is a problem. But I think that Michigan State is susceptible to the pass. I think Purdue's going to have to end up throwing the ball. And I'm going to take Purdue, and I'm going to take the over. How about that?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm picking Michigan State maybe just because I'm rooting for Michigan State to actually potentially beat Ohio State, so we have some new blood, quote unquote, in the playoff.
Right.
I just don't like Purdue that much. But once again, it's another trap line situation.
Total.
If you take Purdue, I can understand where you're coming from.
Total.
I'm gonna go with the over.
All right, very good. How can I take Purdue? Simply because I think this is a trap.
Yeah, the line doesn't make much sense, but I'm going to ignore it because I picked my spots to be hypocritical.
Right. See, that's what I see, Tony. That's exactly what I think. T-Train is that Michigan State, you have to have a letdown after winning that game the way they did last week. And I think if they would have just blown them out from beginning to end, there'd be less of a hangover than the fantastic come behind high energy victory that they had.
I'm just not sure Purdue can stop Walker.
Fair enough, and that's legit. And this could be a flaming bag of shit for my pick on this. No,
that's why I'm looking at the over
because they win by 25.
For 53.5, we saw McNamara torch this defense last week. I think O'Connell should be able to do the same. And as for the running game for Michigan State, we know it's very good. I think you'll see a surprisingly large amount of points in this game.
Can I interest you in laying 28 and a hook to LSU if you're a Bama backer, Scott?
Can you interest me in it? I love it. Yeah, I'm taking Bama. I'm not taking LSU. This team stinks. I know that LSU had that one good performance against Florida. Turns out Florida stinks. I'm going to go with Bama off the bye.
You know, Florida's one of the 5 teams this year that's won in the stats every game, Scott. ITS.
Really?
Yes.
It hasn't gone too well for them.
It hasn't. It makes you explains why that stat maybe hasn't caught on yet. But
I'm taking Bama. I think they'll score 50. This LSU defense is useless. The question is, do I think LSU can score enough to keep this game within about 4 touchdowns? And I'm not sure they're going to.
I think Bama plays with their food.
Can you play with your food against one of your biggest rivals?
Yeah, because they don't look at him as a rival this year.
It's not Auburn, so of course it's not their biggest rival, but LSU has always been one of their biggest for the last decade and change.
I'll take LSU with a late touchdown to get them within the range.
That segues me into my total. I like the over.
Yeah, me too. I'm in the over 66.5. And then there was one, Scott, in a game I'd probably rather not talk about, but it is my alma mater, a team that I actually
what are you getting? 90 points?
Had a cup of coffee with.
Getting 39, I think.
39 and a half, Scott.
Yeah.
And I actually set this up as 38, and that number is long gone.
I can't believe they haven't fired Drinkwater yet. I think you can't believe that either.
Oh no, this is what is it? His third year, second year?
Yeah, but you figure SEC they'll pull the plug prematurely.
Yeah, you got to fix that defense. That's
The offense isn't great either.
I root for two teams in Missouri that have just horrible defenses, the Chiefs and the Tigers. You know, it's 39.5 and it's so many points. And then you look and you see what Tennessee did to this team. You see what Georgia has done to good teams.
Georgia won what against Vandy? They won 50, was it 56-0, 63-0?
55 or 56-0, yeah.
Okay.
I can't play Mizzou. And you'll be happy to know I'm not going to the game.
I feel like that would be a good reason to watch the number one team in the country.
Plus, it's in Georgia, but yeah, no, I'm.
But either way, you're definitely not going to the game.
I'm definitely not going to the game. I'm not going to the K-State game.
It was 62-0 against Vandy, by the way.
60. Oh, they put another. Oh, that's right. They put.
That's what I thought it was.
Oh, I forgot about that. I kept seeing 55 all the way through. I've got to take Georgia here. I can't fucking do it.
So, I'm going to take Missouri.
Okay.
I think it's a lot of points. I think Georgia's easily going to win. I think they'll be covering at some point in this game. But I'm looking at the overall calendar. They play at Tennessee next week, which of course isn't a tough game by any means. That's the last conference game they have for the entire season. So Georgia, I do think, might take an early lead, rest everybody, and get ready for the final conference game of the year because they play Charleston Southern and Georgia Tech to end the year.
What the?
Which is just complete cupcake city. But
well, you know, with Georgia Tech, so
that's the rivalry game that they'll win by 90. But still, I'm going to go with the points. I think that Georgia, maybe the second stringers might extend the lead, which is the issue here. I think they'll be up 35 and pull everyone. Give me Missouri losing by a respectable 35.
Fair enough. I'm taking Georgia in the under. Yes, I think they thread that needle. I think they cover 39.5 and the game goes under.
I'm going with the under anyway.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a lot easier to take Mizzou in the under there.
Yep.
All right, buddy. That's it. So now there's just one thing left to do, and that is to find out our favorite picks for the week. Here we go. I remembered and everything. Get ready for our 5,000-star whale play. Fade the Public Sharks 1 million unit lock of the century. That's right. Jay, I have so many disappointing. This is the time KU beats that number story that I can't even.
I was all over Oklahoma State last week.
Yes, I liked them there too. I actually like K-State. It's a rivalry game, but these teams just really fucking hate each other.
It almost made it onto my list, but I didn't include it.
Almost made you're about to make my list, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Scott, we were 2-1 last week, but you still have the advantage. So, sir, would you like to say it?
Losers walk.
Here we go. I'm starting to walk. Well, in a move that should surprise nobody, and least of all you, because I think you have the same exact pick, I'm going to take Valparaiso minus the 19 points. What the fuck, you say? Who could Valparaiso? I've never heard. What? They're playing Presbyterian. That's right. 19 points, Presbyterian. What do I have to say, guys? You're regulars. You know the drill. Fade Presbyterian until further notice. Yes, they've only got 2 games left. Only 2 more opportunities for this trend to fuck us. So I'm playing it, Scott.
Get in while it's hot.
Get it while it's hot. Presbyterian, no bueno. Give me Valpo minus the 19.
So my first play is Valparaiso minus 19. Presbyterian we talked about before. They played 6 games against FCS opponents. They've lost each game by at least 8. They've lost 5 of those games by at least 20. They played Stetson last week, who was missing about half the team and coaches because of COVID. Stetson, in general, one of the worst teams in FCS.
I heard they were all hat, no cattle.
They, lost 56-14. Valparaiso's actually been competitive in conference play. They're 2-3 in conference play, but each of those 3 losses came by less than 8 points against teams with winning conference records. This Valpo team's better than the record indicates. I think they're going to kill this team. Give me Valpo winning by 28.
All right, good enough. My second pick is going to be one that we talked about earlier, fading a terrible Duke team. Yes, they let us down this week. Doesn't mean I'm not giving them another chance. You're not dead to me yet, Pitt Panthers, as they lay 21 against the Duke Blue Devils. This Duke team is every bit as bad as they were when we talked about them about 20 minutes ago. Nothing has changed. Give me Pitt minus 21.
So I don't know how to feel about this because I was going to pick that play, and then for some reason I picked something else. So luckily for all of you, we actually have different plays from this point forward.
Woohoo!
But yeah, Pitt I
don't
like.
know that for sure, but we know
Pitt should
this
roll.
next one's different.
Yeah, Pitt should roll. But I'm going back to a matchup we talked about before. I'm taking Baylor -6.5 at -114 on Bet Online. Mostly available at 7. I found a 6.5. TCU's lost 5 of 6, including each of the last 3 home games. They're 0-4-1 ATS at home this season, so home field hasn't mattered too much. They fired Gary Patterson. They have an interim coach now in Jerry Kill, who has not been a head coach since 2015. And Baylor, really, really good at running the ball. This team's averaging 238.3 rushing yards per game, while TCU is allowing 204.4 rushing yards per game. With Patterson gone, he recruited everybody. The season's over for TCU. Baylor, though, potentially competing for a New Year's Six Bowl. That team's got a lot to play for. I think Baylor wins going away.
Yep, I'm a big fan of that play as well, and that is a play that again almost made my list. So
less than a touchdown, I got to take that 6.5.
Okay, all right, very good. I'm going to take kind of a weird one here, Scott. I'm going to take an underdog, and I'm going to take the Georgia Southern Eagles, plus 19.5 as they host the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Now, the Chanticleers have been a favorite of this show for the last couple of years. They've been very, very good to us, but they kind of took a tough beat there against Appalachian State as a 4.5-point favorite. And then absolutely sleepwalked through their game last week against Troy, ultimately winning by 7, but failing to cover the 17-point spread. Georgia Southern hasn't been good, coming off 2 really bad losses to Georgia State and South Alabama. However, this is a team that, if you know what they do, they run the triple option. You're not always ready to face a triple option team because you usually don't face them very often. I think they are able to shorten the game enough to come in under this number. Give me Georgia Southern plus 19.
And my last one, first of all, I was torn between 2 games. It was either the Army Air Force under 37.5, which I did not take, but we know when the service academies get together, you don't have many points.
One of the last 7 have gone over 37, by the way, Scott.
So that's why I wanted to at least mention that game, because we didn't talk about it, and we know those games are historically low scoring. But I ended up going with a team I backed last week, and I'm going with UCF. Now, I didn't back them officially last week. I had Temple team total under against this team, and UCF held them to 7.
Right on.
The Knights have been really, really good. You're going down the line here. They're completely under the radar, but -12.5 here against Tulane, a -110 on BetMGM seems low. Tulane's lost each of its first 4 conference games by at least 18 points. UCF has won each of the last 2 conference games by a combined score of 73-14. UCF undefeated at home, Tulane winless on the road, and Michael Pratt, the starting quarterback for Tulane, might play in this game, but he is still dealing with a bit of a concussion issue, so that remains to be seen. But UCF laying less than 2 touchdowns here. I love it. I think this team's very good.
Okay. All right. I've told you I'm automatically suspicious of anybody that uses a Y in their name, and Mikey Keene is no different for UCF. So
they can run the ball really well, though.
They can. Miguel Anolis is K-State. I agree. Yeah. Roll them up. Rock chalk this. All right. So just to recap, Scott, I have Valparaiso at -19, Pitt -21, and Georgia Southern. I believe I misspoke. I said 19. I've got them at 19.5.
And my 3, I also got Valpo -19. I got Baylor -6.5, and I have UCF -12.5.
There you go, guys. Hey, it's 5:00 Eastern time on Friday. Let's get the fuck out of here. What do you say?
Yep, sounds good to me.
Let's go have a beer. All right, you guys, have a great weekend. For all of you that did double duty, God bless you. We appreciate you hanging with us, and you shall be rewarded because we're going to be doing another one tomorrow. Look for it tomorrow afternoon. We don't have an exact time yet. Probably early tomorrow afternoon. We'll be doing our NFL show, so we'll see you then. All right. Good luck on all of your plays tonight. Start of college football tomorrow, and we'll see you for the second half. We'll talk about it then. Until then, you guys take care. Have a great day. Peace out. Bye-bye.